Hello, my name is Alec Geil, and I have been tasked with designing and implementing a new mechanic in a data-driven tile-based game project. This mechanic was originally designed by Micheal Allen. The mechanic introduced is pitfall traps. These traps only work after a player had gone over one of these ice tiles at least once. Once the pitfall trap is active, a player can push a block into the pitfall and cover it up for one movement over the tile that the block had fallen into. Once the player walks over the tile that the block had fallen into, it then becomes an ice tile and then becomes dangerous again. If a player falls into the lava tile, or the pitfall trap, they will sink into the lava themselves and take a penalty of stamina. This is much more than just pushing the block itself. There's a couple ways to solve this area. However, I usually just push the block forward and then into the corner before being able to move to the exit myself. And to take a look at the blueprints, as the next level loads, it first checks to see if the pitfall trap is even active itself. If the pitfall trap is not active, we just have the regular slidey ice tiles. And after the player walks out of those slidey ice tiles, it then sets the pitfall flag to true, which even then it checks to see if the pitfall flag is active there. If it is not, then it sets the material to lava and shows that it is the player that walked over. If once it sets it to true, the player can enter in the tile again. Once the pitfall flag is set on exit, it then waits to check to see if a player or not a player had entered. If a player had entered into the pitfall trap, it disables input, plays a short timeline of the character falling into the tile before re-enabling input for the character and penalizing the stamina. Originally, Micheal Allen had this code to reset the player to the previous tile, but I felt like it took a little too much away from the agency of the player. If it was not a player that had gone into the tile, it then checks to see if it is not the player that had gone into the tile. It then stops the movement of the object that entered in the tile, checks to see, or no. Just gotta organize my words. It stops the movement of the object that entered in the tile, sets the location of the object that entered in the tile -5 on the Z degree axis after it checks to see what entered into the tile. It then plays a timeline over a couple seconds, I believe 3 seconds, I believe I set it to. Same as Micheal Allen's. And then once it falls into the floor, I set the material to dark red and disable the pitfall flag. And then I re-enable the input. And the biggest challenge for me, other than organizing my thoughts during this area and running out of battery, is figuring out how to get the pitfall trap to work at least once on exit and being able to continuously go back into the tile and drain the stamina. I think that's about it. Thank you and have a good night.